Okay.
Robert's now available. First question's from Alana Rizzo. Go ahead.
Dave, good afternoon. I know that we've asked you this before, but how closely do you feel you need to watch Walker coming off of his simulated game on Saturday with those 90 pitches?
Yeah, I think pretty closely. I think that we've done a great job in preparing him for tonight to, pitch as many innings or pitches as he's capable of, or what his finger will allow for that. But I think it's an inning to inning, and I think for me and all of us, the main thing is we get out of this with a net positive and make sure we don't go backwards. So when he does make his first start in the postseason, he'll be ready to go.
Next question's from Dave Vassay. Go ahead.
Dave, what's the feedback that you've gotten from the trainers and those that have seen Walker pitch in that simulated game as far as the blister goes?
Feedback is the stuff was good. I think 75 pitches was done uncovered. Then the last inning was covered. Walker feels really good, confident. The finger itself in a good place. So I think it's just up to all of us to make sure we just manage it tonight. But right now, he wouldn't be making the start if we didn't feel good as far as him taking on a regular start.
How much do you believe that you'll have to deal with the unknown moving forward with the finger?
I'd like to say it won't be an issue at all. But I think that after tonight will be certainly telling, knowing that he'll have an extra day or two before he makes a start in the postseason. So hopefully, it's less of a topic of conversation.
And Dave, going down the stretch here with the final 4 games of the season, what would you like to tune up before you guys start that first round series?
I think we've been tuning up, Dave, for the last couple weeks. I think the focus, the quality of play has been considerably better in all aspects of the game. So it's just more of continuing to do what we've been doing and play our best baseball from here on out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Dave, what are your pitching plans for the weekend? Any more surprises for us?
Obviously Clayton's going to start tomorrow. And then what I can tell you is Tony, Gonsolin, and Dustin are going to pitch bulk on Saturday, Sunday. I just don't know right now if either one or both are going to start. So we just haven't made that decision. But both those guys will be pitching over the weekend.
Possibly as starters, possibly in bulk.
Correct.
Have you and the team started quarantining in anticipation of the playoffs?
Yeah, we have. We entered the bubble last night, Bill, and so we're going to be, I guess, in the bubble till the end.
And how do you feel about that?
It's the best way to eliminate or minimize exposure. So I think that as far as us being on the 1 yard line, getting to the postseason and getting through it, it's a responsible way to do it. It's, in a year that you're going to be inconvenienced for a good reason at times. And this fits under that umbrella.
The possibility of living in a hotel for 3 or 4 weeks, I guess it would be. What kind of plans do you think your players are making?
Yeah, we're trying to kind of, learning a little bit from the NBA but they didn't have families where I think that, and they're not playing every day. So to keep these guys active, not get it to be Groundhog's Day so much. And I think it's perspective though, Bill. It's, we still got to understand that, in reality, we're still playing, getting ready for the postseason, and we will be in the postseason. So it could be a lot worse. So I think my message is going to continue to be, let's do everything we can to stay focused on winning baseball games.
Knock on wood, cross your fingers, and throw salt over your shoulder. It doesn't have the feeling that it did earlier in the year, that things were kind of hanging on a thread and could fall apart with the snap of a finger. Do you feel the same way?
I do. I do. And there's a lot of people that deserve credit. I think that, a lot of people were guilty of, and rightfully so at times, being what if and being sometimes cynical. But I think that there's a lot of people that have done a really good job going above and beyond to allow for this opportunity.
And how many bottles of Red Stitch will you be taking into quarantine?
So it's more of what I'm going to be importing in, because I can only carry so much physically. So yeah, I think I'm going to have a big shipping bill coming in.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from Alana. Go ahead, Alana.
Hi, my apologies to everybody about my internet access. Dave, circling back to Clayton and Walker Buehler, how key is their health and production in terms of what you guys want to do moving forward to have that 1-2 punch in your rotation?
I mean, it's almost everything. I think that's just speaking frankly. When you're talking about winning a championship, you have to have the guys at the top, because it gives everyone else opportunities to be in their best roles. And so you have to lean on guys like that. So, yeah, and both those guys understand that.
Thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
Next question is from Ken. Go ahead, Ken.
Dave, back to Buehler. And aside from the blister, he's had slow starts the last 2 years, and he's only pitched 7 or 8 innings in the last 5 weeks. So how sharp do you expect him to be, not so much tonight, but 5 or 6 days from now?
To be honest with you, Kenny, in major league games, that's fair, but he still pitched and understood what's at stake, in these sim games, and I expect him to be sharp. So you're one start away from the postseason, so I expect him to be sharp and ready to go.
Thanks.
Next question is from Harry Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, with Walker, just given the nature of a blister, you can't really predict when it's going to be a problem, as you guys know with Rich in the past, Rich Hill. Would you guys have to have somebody ready to go right after him whenever he pitches in the postseason, whether it's game 1 or 2?
I don't think that I wouldn't say that we're looking for something to kind of go south on us, but yeah, we'll have guys ready. That's why, in the postseason, we'll have plenty of arms, but it's not a situation where we've got a guy on standby expecting something to go south, because we wouldn't put him in that position anyway, or ourselves.
And just something a little different here. You mentioned that Will Smith was going to DH tomorrow. I'm just wondering, how do you think the DHing has gone for you guys, that position, having that option available for you guys, compared to maybe what you thought it would be?
I think that's been it's been such a pleasant surprise as far as the new rules implemented for this year, and some are going to be going forward. How we've used it, I think a lot of teams are kind of using that model in the sense of using it as, especially National League teams, is using it as a day for certain players to revolve and get days off. And we've done it with a handful of guys, which for me has felt good, because giving guys, just allowing them to manage their workload, but still getting at bats.
And in the postseason, do you anticipate having more of a permanent DH, or have revolved there too?
I would say it's, and not going to divulge who, but I would say it's probably a 3-man tandem type situation, trio.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Next question from DG. Go ahead, DG.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Hi, DG.
I've been recalled from the alternate site in Anaheim.
Oh, stop. I'm not going there.
I was sort of going to ask what Alana asked, but dealing specifically with Walker, when you look back at his division series performance last year, even going back to the World Series game in 18, is it really impossible to overstate the importance and value of having a guy who just has a potential to dominate for long stretches at a time at the top of your rotation as you venture into October?
You can't overstate it. The value of the top end guys to take down meaningful innings, to not overtax bullpen, to dominate games, to cover, an offense that a night of offense that you might not have to still win a baseball game. So yeah, you can't be understated.
When as young as he is, do you feel like, he's got that swagger that he's kind of really built mentally for these situations?
He's certainly built mentally, and I don't think that now with age, I think he's pitched in enough big games for us that he's kind of past that conversation of, is he young enough or is he old enough to handle this? For me, he's done it, and I've got all the confidence in him.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Next question is from Rowan Cavner. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, do you guys feel like you learned anything from having to deal with the blister situation with Rich and just how to kind of handle a guy, or is everyone sort of different in the way it maybe heals or is treated just different guy to guy?
Yeah, and honestly, as I don't work firsthand with it, I think that our training staff, Yosuke Possum, does a fantastic job, and I do think that Walker talking to Rich has certainly helped. That they've kind of been in contact and getting advice on talking about the unknown, and it's something that you can't will it to kind of not show itself. But our training staff does a fantastic job, and I kind of follow their lead.
We got time for one more. Go ahead, Alden.
Hey, Dave, I'm sorry if you might have addressed this previously, but do you know how you're going to slot it between Kershaw and Walker in games 1 and 2, assuming that Walker comes out of this okay, or is that going to be sort of contingent on who you're facing?
I don't necessarily know it's contingent upon who we're facing, Alden. Maybe a little bit is contingent on tonight, how tonight goes as far as the blister, but we just haven't made that decision. But both guys understand where we're at and are welcome to whether they pitch game 1, game 2, which is important.
And one more, did Major League Baseball end up allowing you and coaches to have families with you guys in the bubble, or do you have any hope of them eventually just sort of conceding to that?
So I can't speak to Major League Baseball. I can speak to the Dodgers, and I don't think every team acted the way we did, but our ownership group allowed us to have our families go into a separate bubble to quarantine to then be able to join us in Texas. So I know myself, the players, the coaches, their families are very grateful. And it's something that is coming out of pocket from ownership. So I'm very grateful. And every team didn't act this way. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys.